Hey everyone, we'll get started in just a minute. Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Keegan from the Delaware Department of Education. Thanks for joining us on this webinar where we're going to learn about Delaware College of Art and Design. I want to go over just a few housekeeping things with you. Everyone on the call will be on mute. All of the attendees are on mute. We are recording this webinar and it will be available on our DelawareStudentSuccess.org website in a day or two, that if you want to see something again or you have friends that weren't able to join, they can view it there. Also on this call with me are my colleagues from the University of Delaware Institute for Public Administration, Kelly Sheritz and Chris Kelly, who work with us on all of our Delaware Student Success programming. So I want to thank them for running this webinar tonight. Please put your questions in the chat. So the DCAD team will answer your questions. So please feel free to put anything you want to know more about or something you didn't understand, put it in the chat. So if we could move to the next slide. I want to let you know that we have 17 of these webinars to help students and families think about what they may want to do once they graduate from high school. So we've had a number of them already. Everything from how to pick a career area to what colleges are looking for in admissions, sort of a general college admissions 101 webinar. All of our Delaware colleges and universities are doing webinars. We've heard from several of them already, and we have a couple more to go. So tonight is Delaware College of Art and Design, and on Thursday will be Wilmington University. And then next week, we have a webinar on specifically for students who might be the first in their family to go to college, helpful information and tips that may help you in your decision making and how to apply. We also have some sessions coming up on the military. Different branches will be sharing their career and educational opportunities, and then some sessions on how to write a resume and an interview and prepare for an interview. Also apprenticeships and industry certifications and what types of jobs they can lead to. All of these webinars are being recorded and they are all posted, if they've already happened, are posted on our DelawareStudentSuccess.org website. Another thing I want to tell you about is our texting program, Delaware Student Success Texting. High school students and parents are welcome to join our texting program. You do that by texting the word success to 302-492-2092. And we will text you about 2 times a week. We'll give you updates on these upcoming webinars so that you know what topics are coming up. We will also give you some hints and tips on things you might think about doing to prepare for your life after high school. Also, you can text back and ask us questions if you get stuck, if you're doing the FAFSA or you have a question about financial aid or applying to college or doing an apprenticeship or whatever you're thinking about. If you have a question, you can text back, and the team on this call, Kelly, Chris, and I will answer your text messages back in real time. So feel free to sign up and use that. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Randall Reed from the Delaware College of Art and Design, and Sydney Paul, who is in admissions, and they are going to share the wonderful, wonderful things about their school. I've taken classes there and I can tell you it's a magical place. So please listen and ask them your questions.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Randall. I'm the Interim Director of Admissions here at the Delaware College of Art and Design, and I'm joined by my wonderful admissions counselor here, Sydney Paul.
Hello. I'm an admissions counselor with the Delaware College of Art and Design. I'm not only an admissions counselor, I am also an alumni. So any questions regarding student life, I can definitely answer for you.
All right, so who is the Delaware College of Art and Design? We are Delaware's only professional art and design college. We offer an associate's degree, and our main values are dedication, creativity, accomplishment, and diversity. We truly value all of our students and their experience, as well as their development in art and design. So like I said, we offer a 2-year Associates of Fine Arts degree in 5 majors. That's animation, illustration, graphic design, fine art, and photography. As an art and design college, you're gonna have intensive studio work that's gonna be supported by your academic classes. You'll receive a firm foundation in art and design that will enable you, when you graduate, to use your portfolio to either transfer to another institution to complete your bachelor's or to jumpstart your career in your desired field. We educate, empower, and challenge emerging artists and designers just like you. And this is within our inclusive and diverse creative community. DCAD is located in the heart of the Creative District in downtown Wilmington. If any of you have been to 6th and Market, I'm sure you will have seen our Tony and Stuart B. Young Gallery. And then above that is all of our classrooms and all of our studios. So we're centralized in that one spot. Because of that, you don't have to worry about getting lost across the quad to figure out where your English class is. I bet you it's going to be on the 3rd floor. Wilmington being in a wonderful spot on the East Coast, we're only a couple hours away from the beach, New York City, Washington, D.C. We're just a hop away from Philadelphia and Baltimore. This is important because as you're developing your voice and vision as an artist, you want to be able to go to some of these other cultural hotspots to see what's happening, what's new. We also participate in the Art Loop, which is the first Friday of every month. All of the galleries downtown open up their doors. This is a great opportunity to see some local artists, as well as to exhibit your own work. All right, this is Liana Bacani. She graduated in 2019 and transferred to Moore, which is in Philadelphia, with a 5-figure scholarship. Now, her advice here, I think all of you should take this home with you, regardless if you're interested in attending DCAD or any other institution. When she visited DCAD, she instantly felt comfortable, immediately at ease talking with professors, and the artwork from the studio classes inspired her. The next time that you take a virtual tour on campus anywhere, I want you to look for students that look like you, act like you, and if it's an art school, work that inspires you. That's how you know that that college is going to be a good fit for you. If you can see your tribe around you, then you know that you have to apply. Here's 2 images from our studio classes. So a typical studio class is going to be 4 hours long. You'll start the day in a critique, then you'll have an in-class assignment guided by your faculty member, and then it will end in a critique. The 4 hours really allows you to invest a ton of time into the process of making. It might seem like a long time now, but the second that you get in front of your easel or in front of your Wacom tablet, that time is going to fly by. This is an image from the Tony and Stuart B. Young Gallery on our 1st floor. This gallery will give you an opportunity to exhibit your artwork at least 3 times. This is important because these exhibitions you'll add to your CV, which is the artist version of a resume. You'll have a show both your 1st and 2nd year, just as a student show. And then when you graduate, you'll be able to feature your work as a part of the graduation show. All right, the real fun stuff is our student life. First up, we say that life is sweet. We say this because we don't offer the kind of stereotypical cinder block shoebox that other colleges and universities have. We offer apartment style housing. We offer 3 different types. So singles, you live by yourself. Doubles, you live with 1 other person. Or triples, you live with 2 other people. This apartment style housing, you'll have your own bedroom, bathroom, and living room, which will eventually become your studio space. There's a dining hall located on the 1st floor, so no worry about being a starving artist. And our meal plan covers every meal that we offer at the college. Some schools have a meal plan where you start off with a certain amount of dollars, and if you spend those too quickly, you have to refill that. With DCAD being a part of the meal plan, all you have to do is show up for that meal, grab your chicken nuggets, grab a salad maybe, and then you're good to go. All right, it goes without saying that DCAD is small, smart, and spirited. Small. You'll hear this a lot throughout this presentation. We have a very close-knit and diverse and inclusive creative community of just under 200 students. We have supportive faculties of professional artists and designers. This is important because you want to make sure that what you're learning in class is something that's relevant out in the world. The last thing you need is a painting teacher who hasn't exhibited work in 25 years. So we really pride ourselves on the professional faculty that we have. And our student-teacher ratio is 10-to-1. This really makes sure that our faculty get to know you and your work. Every artist is different. It's hard to compare one student's success over another because it's about the journey and how much you're learning throughout this process. So with our close-knit 10-to-1 teacher ratio, this will really afford you that mentorship that you need from these professional artists and designers. All right, we're smart. So DCAD is accredited by NASAD and Middle States. NASAD is the National Association of Schools of Art and Design, and Middle States is just based off of our geographic location. What this means is that our curriculum is held to the highest standard. Because our students transfer, we want to make sure that the Drawing 1 class that you take with us will transfer anywhere across the globe. So that's why we have these accreditations. I want you to keep in mind that not every college is accredited. So that's very important to look into when thinking about where you would like to attend. More of our students graduate on time. Our graduation rate is 86% versus the 52% at a 4-year institution. What this means is that we will help guide you along your artistic and college journey to make sure that you stay successful. We want you to graduate. We want you to realize your potential as an artist and designer. DCAD costs less than other art and design colleges. On average, we're about $13,000 less than the colleges that are like us. And because we have these articulation agreements, which I'll get into a little bit later, you'll be able to transfer to those institutions and save money along the way. So our low cost plus graduating on time means that you're going to graduate with less debt. And if you're like me, that's a good thing. And my favorite part about DCAD is the community. We are super spirited. This week started our Spirit Week, so I recommend that you take a look at us on Instagram to see some examples of the fun that's to be had. It's not your typical like wear your pajamas inside out day or decade day. We have pumpkin carving contests. We have a speakeasy. We have a costume contest on Friday. I think Halloween is really the time for students to celebrate their spirit there. You'll have the opportunities to curate your own clubs. The clubs that we have on campus now are a Dungeons and Dragons club, an anime club, a horror club, a film club, the student gallery, the GSA, the Gay Straight Alliance, as well as Black Student Union. If you want to be in a club, all you need is one other person to join you, and then DCAD will help you make that club a reality. We have support services offered to all of our students, such as a preferred name policy. So if there's a name that you would prefer to go by that wasn't assigned at birth, we will honor and recognize that. On-campus counseling. We have gender neutral housing, so you can live with someone that identifies as a different gender than you do, as well as emotional support animals. So if you have a cat that brings you life at home, all you have to do is register them and you can bring them on campus. Here we have Josh Hollingsworth. I chose DCAD because of the small, close-knit environment. Also, the opportunity for networking through internships was important to me. When he was a student at DCAD, he was an intern at the Delaware Contemporary, which is located at the riverfront. It's a short walk away. But now he's a full-time education specialist there. And that started with an internship from DCAD. So really there is potential just a few years out of high school to start your dream career. Your first year, regardless of what major you are, you'll receive a firm foundation in art and design. You'll take classes like drawing, 2D design, 3D design, color theory, 4D design. These classes are meant to help you start to flesh out your artistic tool belt so that when you're making your next advertisement, you can think back to your color theory class and figure out how to put the text on top of a background that's really going to make it pop. Maybe you're setting up an editorial photo shoot. You're gonna think back to your 2D design class and all the lessons that you learned in composition. So there's a lot of things that you can gain out of taking these foundation level classes that will carry you through your entire artistic career. All right, the scary part for some people, liberal arts, right? Your studio classes will make up about 70% of your time. The other 30% is dedicated to liberal arts. There's no math or science at DCAD. We offer art history and writing and literature, and it's more complex than that. But all of the math and science will be baked into your studio class. So when you're learning the magic of photography, that's really a chemical reaction that happens. When you're measuring for drawing, you're figuring out some weird trigonometry that I don't even understand. But we'll provide you with that interdisciplinary, multicultural understanding of art and literature. And most importantly, we'll help you talk about your artwork. I think if you ask any artist why they make what they make, you're gonna see them stammering for a minute until they get their footing and figuring it out. We are gonna help you do that within the first 2 years of attending college. Okay, now the good stuff. Our 5 majors with unlimited possibilities. So first up, we have animation. Our animation program basically is designed for people that want to make things move. So if you're tired of static images and you want to create some dynamic images, you'll want to be in our animation program. You'll learn the fundamentals of both 2D and 3D animation. So if you wanted to get into game design, or if you want to do app development, you could start in the animation program. There's also character design and development. You'll take a storyboarding class. So really you're getting a broad stroke of all of the fundamentals that animation has to offer. Henry Thurlow, class of 2004, graduated from DCAD and then transferred to Pratt. And after he graduated from Pratt, he moved to Japan to live out his anime best life. You have to imagine what kind of competition he must be facing as an American in a Japanese-dominated career field that is anime. But he's managed to make his own animation studio. If you want to get more information or just see more of his work, his Instagram handle is below, Henry Thurlow Animator. Next is fine arts. So fine arts is like the foundation year, but on steroids. So your typical 4-hour drawing class will be 6 hours long. You'll take courses in printmaking, figure drawing, sculpture. This is all for you to help figure out what your studio practice is going to look like. What I also love about our fine arts major program is that you're not only learning how to translate the world onto paper, but you're learning how to bake in your perception of the world, how you view the world. And this is your voice as an artist. Kayla McGrath, class of 2006, graduated from DCAD and transferred to Tyler, which is the art school branch of Temple University in Philadelphia. And she's now a full-time painter and jewelry designer based out of Alaska. This painting that you're looking at here is kind of out the front door of where she lives. She's really in one of the best kind of picturesque landscapes to thrive as a painter. She's also found her market, so she has people that collect her work. If you want to see more examples of her work, her Instagram handle is at the bottom, Lady of Long Lake. Graphic design. So graphic design is one of our more fast-paced majors, and that's to help you kind of assimilate into the world that is graphic design. A lot of your assignments will live online. You'll have to download the specs, complete the assignment, and then re-upload them. You'll get experience in advertising, print and packaging design, and also typography. Typography is the art of putting letters onto paper. It doesn't seem like much, but the way that you read something is really important to how you take it in. You'll learn how to create that visual dialogue that companies lean on graphic designers to figure out. Will Ramirez, class of 2014, graduated from DCAD and transferred to Pratt. He was a designer at Milk, where he worked on projects for Netflix, and he's now currently the head designer and illustrator at La Placa Cohen. So 6 years after graduating DCAD, 4 years after graduating Pratt, he's now the head designer at a firm in New York City. How amazing is that? To check out more of his work, I would ask you to follow him on Instagram at willramirez.us. Illustration. So illustration is like if graphic design and fine art had a baby, that would be illustration. You're going to work in both traditional mediums and contemporary digital mediums. So you're learning, again, how to buff out your artistic tool belt. This is important because an illustrator is going to be asked, okay, I need this done in Scratchboard, or I want something done in acrylic. I want my children's book to look like watercolor, or maybe you're working for a graphic design firm creating logos. Illustration continues to do that storytelling in a single image that's kind of similar to graphic design, but has a lot of the techniques of fine arts. Mike Hinson, class of 2011, graduated from DCAD and transferred to the Corcoran. He was an illustrator at BuzzFeed, and he exhibits his work at the Chris White Gallery in Wilmington. But we most recently got an update from him. He is now a creative director at TikTok. His work is fantastic, especially in the COVID times that we're experiencing right now. How great it is to work from your couch and just email the projects that you're working on to BuzzFeed or to TikTok. You just upload it. I think it's truly amazing how artists can be flexible and nimble in what other people could imagine being a very tough time. To check out more examples of Mike Hinson's work, his Instagram handle is below at HinsonMike. Last up, we have photography. Our photography program is about to take your Instagram skills to the next level. You won't need a filter. You won't need to blur anything. All of these decisions you can make in your camera. So we're teaching you kind of the art of photography, not only in black and white, but also in color. That does make a difference, but also different practices. So you'll learn the fundamentals of fine art photography. You'll also learn the fundamentals of studio, photojournalism, editorial photography. So if your dreams of becoming a wedding photographer, or maybe you want to be a gallery photographer, all of those skills you'll learn within the second year at DCAD. Leah Beach, class of 2011. She graduated from DCAD and that was it. She started her journey as a photojournalist. When she was a student at DCAD, her capstone project, which is her final project, she was documenting her grandmother going through a dementia diagnosis, which she used to apply for a grant to travel the world to do the Global Dementia Project. She then used that portfolio to apply for a grant from the UN to do the AIDS campaign. What I love about the work that Leah does is that she's using her camera as a soapbox, as a way for other people in the world to see some of these disparities and some of these intimate moments in a way that I would never see. She's based out of Lower Delaware, and now she runs a creative house. To see what she's up to, I would recommend that you check her out on Instagram at Something Different Art. All right, seniors, it's time to get your act together. The first thing to do is experience DCAD. So this is one way to experience it, right? Watching this presentation. But I would encourage you to take a virtual tour, follow us on Instagram to really get a good picture of who we are, see examples of student work. That's how you'll know if DCAD is truly the right place for you. We do require a portfolio. We need to see 10 to 15 pieces of your best work. It can be in any medium. So let's say you want to apply to be a photographer. Your portfolio can be all photographs. We do recommend that you show some drawings from observation, but that is not required. We will need a copy of your high school transcripts. So you can send them to us at any point. You can send them to us right now and we could still determine your admissions decision. The catch is that they need to be an official copy. So they have to come directly from your high school to us. The first deadline to keep in mind is our early action deadline, and that's December 1st. If you apply by December 1st and you've completed your FAFSA, you'll get your decision and financial aid package by January 1st. So we'll really help you start planning for next September. The other important deadline to keep in mind is March 15th. That's our deadline for merit-based scholarship. All right, what is merit-based scholarship? Merit-based scholarship is free money that DCAD is investing in you as future artists and designers. And that just comes right off the top from your tuition. If you've completed your FAFSA, our school code is here at the bottom, but you could also just look us up there. That will let us know what kind of need-based aid you qualify for. So that's both federal money and more money that DCAD may have to help assist you. I will say that college can be expensive, so I urge everyone to continue your search for outside scholarships. You can truly get a scholarship for almost anything, so we welcome outside scholarships, so continue to apply. All right, so back to the two-year school conversation that we offer in Associates of Fine Arts. DCAD has been in the business of transferring students for nearly 20 years, so we know how to get our students to go to that next level. We have articulation agreements with some colleges, and they can be found on our website. And what are articulation agreements? It means that colleges such as Moore, PCAD, MICA took a look at our curriculum and said, hey, this stuff is stellar. It is the same as the first 2 years at my institution. So now along the way, you're saving some money, you're getting some one-on-one attention, and then you're transferring to that next school to continue your career. So when I said that DCAD offered 5 majors, I'm sure some of you were thinking, well, I want to be a game designer, or maybe I want to be a tattoo artist. Why would I start at DCAD? Because we're going to give you the skills and the foundation to be successful on that career path. Game design, you want to start with animation. Tattoo design, you'd want to start in illustration. Let's say you want to work for Facebook, which is a user experience or a user interaction designer, graphic design. So truly our 5 majors really open up to a whole ton of possibilities. Our graduates work for some of the biggest companies in the world. Now, some make sense, right? Nickelodeon, DreamWorks, we all know that those are creative places, but who would have thought that Capital One or Comcast needed a creative professional? If there's one thing that this pandemic has taught me, is that creativity is what makes our life enjoyable. Without it, we have nothing. Think about the device that you're watching this on. Think about the Netflix you just turned off in order to tune in. Think about the video game you played or the advertisement you see driving down the highway. All of those were touched by an artist or designer. Creativity is the #1 skill that international employers are looking for. Whenever someone asks me to describe DCAD in one word, I always say without hesitation, family. And this comes from Aaliyah Pear. She graduated from DCAD and transferred to Moore. And now she is a visual production artist at Calvin Klein. I say that because when you check out her website, she's like designing what goes up in a Macy's. She's designing the next runway show. So visual production designer is such a weird title for such a cool job. That concludes our presentation specifically around our program, but I did want to show you our animation reel because if you want to be an animator, you got to see things move, right? So give me 1 second. Yay! So now would be a great time. If any of you had any questions, we are here to answer those for you. Feel free to just type them in the chat. Yeah.
That was so interesting. Thank you, Randall. Are there any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat at all. But this is a great time to take advantage of having two admissions people here from DCAD. If anyone wants to know more about applying or programming or anything, financial aid, any questions? So what can students do if they think of questions, or parents after the fact? How can they reach out, or what's the best way?
Yeah, so the first thing that we would say is maybe give us a call or shoot us an email. We are super connected here at the college. So there is, I'll type my email address and phone number in the chat for everyone, and then you can reach out to me.
Do you guys want to answer the question that just popped up there?
Yes, I was wasn't sure if I should just type them, but yes, there is a essay component to our application process.
Yeah, and the essay is super simple. We want to know what makes you passionate about making art and design, and how can DCAD help you realize that goal? So there's a question about all of the documents or components required for the application. So the first thing we need is the application itself. If you go to www.dcad.edu, in the upper right-hand corner is the Apply Now button. Click on that, it will take you through the application process. Once you've applied, we do require a portfolio review so that you can schedule over Zoom. If you have an art-based Instagram, we can take that. Or you can submit online at dcad.slideroom.com. All of the portfolio requirements are listed on our website under the admissions tab. For your transcripts, that's the last piece we need, and that is just an official copy sent to us directly from your high school.
Can you speak a little bit, in case there are students who are not seniors, who are younger high school students, who maybe don't have a portfolio or haven't started working on one? Like, what are some tips about how you start to compile one? How do you know what should go into a portfolio if you think you might want to go that direction to apply to an art school?
Sydney, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll answer. I think it's very important for students to start exploring early on. I know a lot of art classes will have assignment-based work, which is great. You know, it really gets you on a path of starting to think creatively, starting to think of what subjects are out there. But I think it really all stems from nature and starting to create from real life observation, and then bringing that into something you're more connected to, subject matter that you're more interested in, as in portraits or taking photos, maybe just getting all abstract and throwing paint on a canvas. You know, it really all just. But we would love to see every angle of how you create, how you'd like to express yourself.
Yeah, I think most artists are their biggest critics. So the next time that you try a self-portrait and it doesn't look exactly like you, that is a-okay. It's more about the process than it is about the end product. That's why we love doing portfolio reviews in person, so that we can, or virtually, like face-to-face, so that we can ask you questions about that. If there are any underclassmen that would like portfolio reviews, admissions is more than happy to do that. We would just call it an informal review. You would have to resubmit your portfolio your senior year, but we are more than happy to lend an eye to let you know where your work is going. But don't be too hard on yourself. Someone asked what the waiting process or how long it takes. I'm assuming that means from when you complete your application to when you receive your decision. On average for us, that takes about 10 days. But I'll be honest, if we get your final piece to your full application, we make our decision almost immediately. Now, when it comes time for your financial aid package, it will take at least 10 days. It's the average, no more than 2 weeks to receive your financial aid package if you've completed your FAFSA. So within the process of maybe a month total, you'll have your full package, but DCAD works quick, and we're really passionate about making that offer to you. So for us, it's a pretty quick turnaround. When it comes to transferring credits into our program, whether it be from an IB program, maybe you've attended a summer program that gave you a credit, or from another college, the important thing to keep in mind is that we may need to conduct a portfolio review from that program. As you transfer that credit in, let's say it will come in as drawing one. Our person that oversees the fine art department will take a look at your portfolio to see if you've mastered the skills necessary to transfer out of drawing one. It's not that we want to make you pay more money or make you spend more time. We just want to make sure that the next class that you go into, like drawing two, you'll have all of the skill sets that you need to be successful. But tons of students transfer credits in, and that's a pretty smooth process between admissions and our registrar.
Are there more questions? I'm not sure what that background noise is that we're hearing. One thing that I can share for students in terms of financial aid and doing your FAFSA, which you've heard mentioned a few times, that if you're not sure what that means or how to do that, or want to learn more about financial aid, on our DelawareStudentSuccess.org website, on the calendar where you'll see all these webinars listed, there are also a whole lot of financial aid and scholarship presentations by an organization called Stand By Me. We partner, the Department of Education partners with Stand By Me, and they are there to help you and teach you what you need to do. There's also the opportunity to have a one-on-one appointment with them if you want someone to walk you through the free application for federal student aid application, which is the FAFSA. So the FAFSA is your first step in getting federal money for college. So that's, and you can do that now. It opened October 1st. So that's really, really important. But there are resources to help you, you know, if you need help or need have questions about it. So I wanted to call that resource out. Are there any other questions about areas or possible careers or how you decide? Such a great opportunity to have Randall and Sydney right here.
I would like to add for anybody who possibly came in later, I am an alumni from DCAD. I'm not too far away from when I graduated in 2016. So I just would like to provide any insight, any questions that may be more particular to student life, how the process of transferring goes, because I did transfer to Pratt after I earned my AFA with DCAD. So if there are any questions, I'll look in the chat.
Would you say most students come in with an area that they already think they want to focus on?
Mostly, yes, students have an idea of what they want to do, but what's also unique is of them being undecided. Because we have such a strong foundation year, it kind of lets students dabble in all areas, you know, get a little photography, get a little fine art, see what illustration's doing. And graphic design and illustration, they actually take each other's classes because they're so closely connected. So you kind of get a taste of everything, and you can finally decide, like, wow, you know, I thought I wanted to be a graphic designer, but I just fell in love with taking photos. But you can also blend the two in a really cool way and go off on your own creative tangent. I see there's a question about clubs or extracurricular activities. DCAD does offer clubs, and it's really an amazing opportunity to get together with students and be a part of the community that is DCAD. We have a D&D club, we have an animation club. Randall, you can jump in.
So we also have a Black Student Union, a Gay Straight Alliance. There's a yoga and meditation club. One thing to keep in mind, DCAD is a 2-year school. So our students are constantly kind of graduating and allowing the new class coming in to kind of pave the way for the clubs that they want to have. When I was a student at DCAD, we had 3 clubs. We had the Student Gallery Club, the Knitting Club, and the Yoga Club. And that was it. That was all that we were interested in. Now, we weren't that cool, which is all right. But now in 2020, if you want to have an Among Us club, all you need is you and one other person that want to meet to have this club, and student services will support you. Now, there are certain clubs that are a part of the fiber of our being that we will try to offer every year, and that is the Black Student Union, the Gay Straight Alliance, and the Student Gallery Club. But sometimes those clubs go over some heavy, hard-hitting topics. So we welcome any opportunity for anything, really.
Yeah, I would like to add my time at DCAD, we had a D&D. I was a part of a D&D club, and it was always like 12 students every week, very fun. Just you get a lot of bonding time in those events. There's always an opportunity to throw a party. I remember there was a Golden Globe party, there was a Super Bowl party, and it's just, you know, everyone comes together, brings food, brings music, and it's just a really great bonding experience. It's really fun.
And that stems out of our student services program. So there are RAs on campus, resident advisors, and those are current 2nd-year students that help mentor you through the college process, but then they also plan events for you to have fun. We also have routine museum trip days. So we go to New York City, we go to DC, Philadelphia, so that you can have a free ride to go check out these museums. Or maybe you want to find the best pizza in Brooklyn. That's cool too. But we'll take you to the Met or to the MoMA so that you can get some exposure to some of the things that you're learning in your art history class or exploring in writing and literature.
I still remember my trip to DC. It was so fun. We went to like every museum. Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine. It's good to hear those stories. I was just going to say one last call for questions. If anybody can think of anything that's come to mind, a good time to ask.
And I would guess, I would pose a question to the audience today. I want you to think about what you're looking for in a college. The first question is, do you want to pursue a career in art and design? If you're serious about becoming an art design professional, we are a great place to start. The next thing I want you to think about is what size school do you want? At DCAD, we get to know you and your name. You're not just a student ID number to us. And that goes for faculty and for staff. Our financial aid department will get to know you and your family. Admissions, of course, will get to know you. So within that small community, that's something that you really want to consider. And so think about size and think about cost really too. We are relatively inexpensive in comparison to other art and design colleges. So that is my charge to you.
And I will second what Randall said earlier about creativity and being needed in the workplace. I do a lot of presentations on college topics, and one of the most sought after quality that employers of any kind are looking for is creativity. You know, there's so much technology out there, but they want people who can actually think creatively and think outside the box and be innovative and come up with new ideas and be problem solvers. So no matter what industry you end up in, these are skills that will serve you well going forward forever. All right, well, I think that, I think we've answered all the questions. So I want to thank Randall and Sydney for the time presenting on DCAD. It's really a wonderful place. Please reach out to them if you have any questions afterwards. I'm sure they would be more than happy to talk with you. Our email from the Delaware Higher Education Office is on the screen now. If anyone has general questions about Delaware Student Success or the webinars or anything, but all of our information is on the DelawareStudentSuccess.org website. Lots of information about careers, college, things to do after high school. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at another webinar. So thank you.